Now, Ryder has problems, and according to his trusty sidekick, Jack, he is to blame for some of it. Now, in Ryder's Root, authors Jeff Lomey and Nicki Bloch introduce us to characters that are flawed but searching for something. Jeff joins me now in studio to talk about Ryder's Root. Jeff, just for the benefit of our viewers, good morning. Brief synopsis on Ryder's Root.
So it's a journey about a guy who's looking for love, bond and happiness. And he rides in his trusty steed, which is a Lexus, because that's where he has to live as he moves from place to place. And he's accompanied by his dog Jack, who's a streetwise dog from the Cape. And Jack is almost like an alter ego or a muse that comments to the reader on what Ryder is doing. So
Ryder is this 50-something plus in his late, well, not kind of, depending on where we are now, he's mature. Right? He struggles to find love, but I think Ryder echoes a lot of the stuff that people go through on a day-to-day basis, especially men, because we don't hear men talk about happiness and finding love and finding stability.
Yes, so he does share his journey looking for those things in quite a personal way. Mm.
Then you bring in Jack, and there's maybe one of the things that I thought, okay, this is interesting. At what point did they decide to give Jack a voice? Because in his opening stretch where Jack talks about OBs and where he comes from and tries to remember his past, he, at the end of that, uses the word namaste. And I thought, I don't know which dog in the world would end up talking about the history using the word namaste. Jack is supposed to be funny.
He's supposed to be funny. I think Jack secretly wants to do some yoga, and I think it comes from his yoga classes.
So this discussion that Ryder has, Ryder dates Sophia, and Sophia you describe as incredibly hot. But, and maybe I just want to ask you, do you know a Ryder in real life? Somebody who constantly dates the same kind of person and then laments the fact that they're unhappy?
I think definitely. I think there's a lot of Ryders out there searching for that, and perhaps looking in the wrong places or the wrong way to find that love, bond and happiness.
But you've created so many different characters here. So we go from Ryder to Sophia to Jack to Jacqueline's story. There's Izzy, who works for Ryder. There's Candy, there's Vinny. There's just so many different characters that you've created to start that layers. Which for you was the most intriguing character to create?
So I think we must not forget Koos and Klaas.
Koos, of course, yeah, the frustrated cop, yeah.
And they bring a lot of fun to the book. Yeah. So I really like Koos and Klaas, and they bring a real South Africanness to the book. But
there's a similarity between Koos, who's a frustrated policeman, and there's nothing happening in the little town that he's in. Koos, both Koos, Ryder, Jacqueline, and I think maybe to a point Jack has found it, but how important is the pursuit of happiness over love? Because they're all looking for happiness.
I think that's a great question. I think we all look for happiness. And if you can have happiness a lot, I also believe that happiness is a temporary state of mind. Mm. It's not something you achieve and it's always there. You always got the ups and downs. But to share that happiness with someone, I think is something we all crave. I certainly do.
It's such a funny thing that you mentioned that, because it's the underlying theme in this book. It's not something we often talk about, and even it takes me to this point where Ryder is sitting with Vinny, and they're talking about what he perceives Vinny, and I think her name is Maya, because they are the personification of happiness to him. He has found somebody that is his soulmate in many ways. But they don't want to talk about it too much because he's obviously feeling down after Sophia kicked him out. We don't talk in real life about the things that make us sad. We all have this kind of facade or this veneer that says we're always trying to be happy.
Well, I think then we're not really being authentic, even with ourselves, never mind who we're talking to. But if we don't share some of that in ourselves, then who are we? Then we're faking it.
How difficult was this book to write with, Nicki? Because it's your first book when you're writing with somebody who's based on another continent.
Well, we wanted to showcase some of Knysna and Plet and the Garden Route and South Africa especially, all the pubs, the mountains and all of that. And I used to tell her about all of that, and then she started writing a few notes and we started collaborating over the Skype. It was difficult, it was challenging, but it was very interesting as well, and we bring two different perspectives to the work.
that sensibility is there. Jeff Lomey, thank you very much for joining me. He's part of the writing team who's put together Ryder's Route, a story about a search for love and happiness, and I'm sure it's available. Well, how can people get hold of it?
Most of the leading bookstores. It's on Amazon and Goodreads and Kindle, and we have our own website as well.
Jeff, thank you very much. We're taking a break.
Thank you, Sam.